Rest in peace. The rates of spread of social vices is becoming alarming in Nigeria. The police in Delta State have arrested scores of young men and women suspected to be gays. They were arrested at the same-sex marriage ceremony in the States. The police spokesperson in the state, Bright Edafe, who put the number of those arrested at 67, said a cross-dresser intercepted by police led operatives to the venue of the ceremony. Let's share the story with you.
It looks like a typical wedding ceremony between a man and a woman, but it is not. It is a wedding of gay couple taking place in odd hours. On parade here are the suspects. Police narrated how they were apprehended.
One Chuks, Chinye, dressed, he happens to be a male, but he was dressed like a lady. They brought him to the station and continued interrogating him before he now gave us a confessional statement that he belongs to the gay society and they are having a ceremony. The policemen stormed the hotel where about 200 suspects were initially arrested. Majority of them all dressed like females. We saw 2 suspects dressed, one as the bride and one as the groom.
For the police, these set of men will have their day in court after thorough investigation.
And there is nobody resident in this country that has the right to go against the law of this country. It is a very clear case, though they are still presumed innocent until proven otherwise in the court of law.
Some of the suspects deny committing any crime.
They said I've committed an offense while dressed like this.
It's like getting married there was nothing like wedding there. That is just an allegation towards us.
So why are you here? I came here as a model because I'm advertising this, so I'm a fashion designer.
The same-sex marriage prohibition bill signed into law on January 7, 2014 by former President Goodluck Jonathan imposes a 14-year prison sentence to anyone who enters a same-sex marriage contract or civil union, and a 10-year sentence on individuals or groups, including religious leaders, who witness, abet, or aid the solemnization of a same-sex marriage. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Efru, Delta State.
Babajide, this is trouble brewing. This is a big problem that we have in our hands. When youths, we just organize the venue and they want to do this.
If we have laws and people are not seen to be punished for contravening our laws, these sort of things will keep happening. I know that a few years ago in Zaria, this kind of thing happened. And the police swooped on the wedding venue and made arrests. Now, when these things happen and they are taken before a judge and sentences are passed and it gets reported by the media, those who otherwise would have wanted to do something similar, they will think twice. We are a nation where impunity reigns, not because we've not got laws to deal with infractions in our country, but because of the slow and whimsical nature of our judicial process and the fact that it is a lot easier to escape justice through extrajudicial means. That's why these things keep happening. Nigeria is not USA, for God's sake, where most of the states have agreed to same-sex marriage. Our country, based on the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act of 2013, frowns at same-sex marriage. And for this reason, I do not expect people to go to the extent of even organizing a wedding. Family values, of same-sex wedding, family values have collapsed. The groom is 22. The bride is 20. Ordinarily, these are people who should still be under some level of control of their parents. But most parents can't even talk to their children. Most parents do not know what their children are doing. Even as early as 16 years, some parents simply do not show interest in how their children are doing anymore. They don't go into the rooms of their children to try to sniff at some of the negative things that those children are doing. That's why this is going on. And until we show these abhorrent Nigerians that our law prohibits this kind of union, they will not stop. They will not stop. Who knows how many such marriages have taken place in Lagos and other places without the police even getting a wind, being aware of what's going on. So we should not stop at simply putting these guys on parade. We have to see the case get to its logical conclusion, and upon conviction, we have to report that these guys have been convicted. Marriage should be a legal union of man and woman. That is how God designed it. We are not white people. We have our culture. And just as Mr. President then, Warri, insisted that he would not agree to same-sex marriage in our country because it's against our culture, I expect even our current president, at any fora where this dirty and abhorrent idea is suggested to him, I expect him to put his foot down and say, in Nigeria, this is not what we want. We can see they are abusing Museveni, the president of Uganda, all over the place, but we are Africans. We are not white people. We are not Americans. And we have no reason to try to be like them. No level of neocolonialism should make us want to do things that the white people are doing. So if a white man is eating excrement, you now go and eat it. It makes no sense, absolutely no sense, and these guys deserve to be punished.
This is like, they will say they have their own fundamental human rights. The LGBT community should allow them to express themselves, and this is the way they were created.
It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. Daniel Pius, the groom, quote and unquote, age 22, and the wife-to-be, or the bride, Mano Maxwell Ohobowo, 20. Now, engaged in this kind of haste. I call it haste. It's unthinkable. And I think they are able to do this because the characters that were arrested in Lagos in 2019 for a similar offense, the police bungled it, according to the judge, who discharged and acquitted them. 47 of them were arrested in Lagos in 2019 at an hotel in Ogba. I recall reading reports and following it. Despite the fact that, as at then, we already had this anti-gay marriage law signed by Jonathan in 2014. So they were discharged and acquitted, all of them, 47 in number. But that one was not even just, it was like a mass wedding of gay characters. So, and I know, they have their associations and they meet. The police were just lucky in Delta to apprehend one of them who was going there. That was what led to the busting of their bubble this time around. So, but I think we need to do more as a society. So, by making sure that we punish things like this, so that it won't continue, because this is like we are losing our cultural values, we are losing our traditional values. We are not America or UK. We are, I think one of the other day, a minister, equivalent of a minister, under Joe Biden, introduced his wife, a man, introducing his partner, another man.
Again, you'll be shocked at the number of gays you have around you that you don't know.
I don't know and I don't want to know. The Same-Sex Prohibition Act was signed into law on the 7th of January 2014 by President Goodluck Jonathan. And that act stated as followed: ban same-sex, amorous relationship, gay marriage, membership of gay rights groups, possession and meeting of same-sex advocates, blah, 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 blah. So it is not that we don't have the law, we have the law. And also prescribed, just as BKO said, 14 years imprisonment. And what that law said is not just 14 years for those that engage, that are getting married. If you as an individual, you go there and to witness, you're also going in for it.
For 10 years, yeah.
Yes. The place, the owners of the place, of the venue, also will go in for it. So it is an all-encompassing law that has been signed. But the problem is that we've not put it to test. We have not. And that is why we are seeing this. This was just as Muji said, these are just the ones that we've seen. It happens on a daily basis. And most often than not, we come to realize that the Western world always frown against it. Oh, they tell you it's a fundamental human right. Hey, why? Fundamental human right, your right stops where my own begins. You don't have, because you have fundamental human right that is enshrined in the Constitution, 1999 Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, you decide to slap me. Yes, it's your right, but you can slap me. But when you slap me, the repercussion of your act is also. So those are some of the things. And also look at it from this point. And I've said it with that number. The Western world, just like BKS, cannot be telling us. Let me give you a practical example. Polygamy is synonymous with Africa. Our people here marry 2 wives. 4. They marry 3. Marry 4.
27.
20. That is it. Marry 27. Has there been any time we impose on the Western world? They don't marry more than 1. If you marry more than 1, you go in for it. You'll be charged to court. And yes, that's bigamy. Have you ever seen Africans going to tell those in US and say, no, you must marry 2 wives or 3 wives? And that is also. But there is another angle that most people have not looked at. People have not, which I personally, probably because of my decision, I've also looked at. Hey, why? This is also could be a detour. You know what I mean? Some of these guys are also looking for avenues to seek relevance, to travel abroad, to seek visas. Mm-hmm. That is one part that most people have not been looking at. Mm-hmm. You know very, very well that when you go to the US or whatever, you seek asylum as a Nigerian or Africa, there are certain indices that you present. Mm-hmm. So some of these things, all this video you are seeing, by the time they just lead these guys tomorrow, you see them jump to American embassy.
And prosecuted.
That is it. So that is why the police have to do proper investigation on this. I'm sure you've not thought of this angle because they must, because I
22
creative.
Very creative. I'm telling you. So that
with this story now all over the media and everything from tomorrow now,
I have
they will compile it and
let me tell you, there have been instances I've known certain people that have gone to Canada, gone to a US address, and they call me as a journalist. I say, CK, can you just help us plant a story in your site and say that we have been prosecuted in Nigeria? I said, what do you want to use it for? And they backdate it, will pay. I said, what for? He said, I want to present it where I'm seeking for asylum that I was being presented. So some of this is so, which is why the police have to do their job. Then they court also. The problem we've always had is not having the law. Is what have we done with the law?
Okay. Bikio, your final take on this?
I think that as a people, our culture needs to be protected. We should not subordinate our culture to foreign cultures in any way. What these fellows have done is abominable, and they need to be dealt with severely.
Okay, various dimensions continue.